stop everything, because what I'm about to tell you is not speculation, analysis, or theory. At 7:43 this morning, 3 senior Republican Senate leaders walked into Mitch McConnell's office for what was supposed to be a routine leadership meeting. 47 minutes later, they walked out, and within 2 hours, Washington was in open revolt. This became the most serious internal Republican uprising since Watergate. This is not about policy disagreements. This is about senior Republicans concluding that Donald Trump has become ungovernable. And what triggered it will shock you. If you care about what happens next, subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications, because the next 72 hours will determine whether the Republican Party survives intact or fractures completely. Let's go. Here's what no one else is reporting, what I have confirmed through 3 independent sources inside the Senate Republican Conference. Wednesday morning, 2:17 a.m., Donald Trump places a call to the Senate Majority Leader. He demands an immediate vote on what he calls the Emergency Powers Expansion Act. He issues an ultimatum: pass it by Friday, or he will primary every single one of them. He threatens to campaign against Republicans in their own states. At 6:30 a.m., leaked audio begins circulating. It captures Trump privately saying, quote, "I do not need the Senate. These people work for me." The recording spreads rapidly among senior Republicans. The reaction is not fear, it is fury. At 7:43 a.m., an emergency meeting is convened. Mitch McConnell, John Thune, John Barrasso, John Cornyn, 47 minutes behind closed doors, and what those 4 men decided in that room represents the most serious challenge to Trump's authority from within his own party ever. To understand why this revolt matters, you have to understand how Trump has controlled Senate Republicans for the past 8 years. This has never been about ideology or policy, it has been about fear. Fear, when weaponized correctly, can control an entire political party. Every Republican senator knows these examples. In 2020, Mitt Romney votes to convict Trump in the first impeachment. Trump's response is immediate and brutal. Romney is censured by his own state party, isolated, politically damaged. The message is clear: defy me and pay the price. In 2021, Bill Cassidy votes to convict in the second impeachment. He spends months trying to repair the relationship. He humbles himself. He votes with Trump repeatedly. And the moment he stops being useful, Trump endorses his primary challenger anyway. The lesson is reinforced. Loyalty is never protection. It's only a delay. In 2023, Kevin McCarthy negotiates a debt ceiling deal Trump privately opposes. Weeks later, McCarthy is removed as Speaker. The message is finalized: I can destroy anyone, at any time, for any reason. That is how authoritarian control works. You don't punish everyone, you make examples, and fear does the rest. For 8 years, that fear has been absolute. Republican senators have watched careers end, colleagues humiliated, power stripped away. Every time they chose obedience because resistance looked worse. But Trump made one fatal miscalculation. Fear only works until people realize the threat never ends. And that realization arrived this week because 3 forces converged. First, the electoral math collapsed. The 2024 Senate map is brutal. Republicans are defending 23 seats, Democrats only 11. Internal polling from Montana, Ohio, and Pennsylvania shows Republicans down 6 to 8 points when directly tied to Trump. One senator put it bluntly: I can defend conservatism, I cannot defend chaos. Second, the Greenland disaster crossed a red line. NATO allies are alarmed. The defense establishment is in open revolt. A retired 4-star admiral said it plainly: this isn't strategy, it's instability. Members of the Senate Armed Services Committee understand what most voters don't. Threatening military action against allied territory isn't leverage, it's global destabilization. Third, the legal walls are closing in. Criminal cases are accelerating. The Supreme Court is declining emergency stays. Trial dates are locking in. One senior Republican attorney privately said, "We are about to nominate someone who could be in federal custody by November." Electoral vulnerability, foreign policy recklessness, criminal exposure. Suddenly, defending Trump isn't uncomfortable, it's suicidal. According to two sources briefed on the meeting, here's what happened inside Mitch McConnell's office. McConnell played the audio, the full 3-minute recording. "I do not need the Senate. These people work for me." He played it twice. No one spoke. The silence, according to one source, was suffocating, because everyone in that room understood exactly what they were hearing. This wasn't frustration. This was a declaration that Congress no longer mattered. John Thune spoke first. "We cannot defend this, not the Greenland rhetoric, not the emergency powers demand, not the threats to primary our own members. We cannot go on television and explain this to voters who are already exhausted." Then John Barrasso responded, and the conflict was unmistakable. "If we oppose him publicly," he said, "he destroys us individually." "You know this," one senator said. "We've watched this movie before. Romney, Cassidy, Cheney, everyone who stood up, gone, or politically irrelevant. How is this any different?" Mitch McConnell leaned forward. "Here's how it's different," he said. "He's going to destroy us anyway. The question isn't whether we survive politically. The question is whether we go down defending him or defending the institution. And I'm telling you right now, if we don't draw a line, there will be no institution left to defend." John Cornyn brought the numbers. "Texas polling has me down 4 points," he said. "Every single point is Trump-adjacent chaos. My voters don't want this anymore. They want stability. They want governance. They don't want their senator explaining why the president is threatening to invade Greenland." And this is where the conflict crossed a point of no return, because what McConnell proposed wasn't symbolic resistance, it was structural. He laid out the plan. Draft a joint letter to the White House stating clearly that the Senate will not vote on any emergency powers expansion. Announce that Senate leadership will not campaign with Trump unless his foreign policy rhetoric is brought under control, and warn that if Trump initiates primaries against sitting Republican senators, leadership will back incumbents with the full financial force of the National Republican Senatorial Committee. McConnell looked each man in the eye. "I need to know right now, are you with me?" John Thune said yes, without hesitation. John Cornyn said yes. John Barrasso said nothing. One source described the silence as the longest 30 seconds of the meeting. Finally, Barrasso spoke. "You're asking me to commit political suicide." McConnell didn't flinch. "I'm asking you to do your job." Barrasso nodded. "Yes. 4 men, 4 votes." And with that, the structure that had held the Republican Party together for 8 years began to crack. What followed happened with stunning speed. At 9:15 a.m., McConnell personally called 15 senior Republican senators. His message was blunt. "We're doing this. Are you with us?" 3 committed immediately. Mitt Romney, Susan Collins, and Lisa Murkowski. That was expected. 2 others were not. Lindsey Graham, Marco Rubio. And this is where the ground truly shifted. Lindsey Graham is Trump's most vocal defender, the man who played golf with him last weekend, the senator who has gone on television hundreds of times to defend every controversy, every indictment, every investigation. And he broke. According to a source close to Graham, he told colleagues on a private call, "I defended the indictments. I defended the investigations. I defended the rhetoric. I stood by this man through things that would have ended any other political career. But I will not defend threatening to invade Allied territory. I will not defend dismantling Senate authority. I will not defend calling senators traitors." There is a line, and he crossed it. At 10:47 a.m., the letter was drafted. 5 pages, dense legal language, constitutional framing. The key sentence read, and I'm quoting directly from a copy I've seen, "We cannot no longer in good conscience enable conduct that threatens constitutional order and undermines the institutional prerogatives granted to the United States Senate." 12 signatures were committed before noon. At 11:30 a.m., Donald Trump was informed. An aide alerted him via encrypted message. McConnell and 11 others signing letter opposing emergency powers, going public today. Trump's response, according to leaked texts that circulated among White House staff, was 3 words, all caps: traitors, all of them. What happened next was pure instinct. He began calling loyalists. At 12:15 p.m., Trump personally called Lindsey Graham. The call lasted less than 2 minutes. According to someone briefed on the exchange, Trump said, "You are dead to me." Graham replied, "Then I'm dead." The call ended. Trump called Marco Rubio. "I made you. I will destroy you." Rubio responded, "You're destroying yourself. Do what you need to do." Trump tried calling Mitch McConnell 3 times. McConnell never answered. By 1:40 p.m., the split was visible. House Republicans released a statement pledging full support for the president. Senate Republicans said nothing. Reporters noticed immediately. By 2 p.m., every major outlet was running stories about Senate Republican leadership refusing to back Trump's emergency powers demand. At 3 p.m., the letter leaked, and this leak was deliberate. The Washington Post received a copy. Politico confirmed the signatures within minutes. By 3:15 p.m., the full text was everywhere. This was no longer a private disagreement. This was open revolt. But here's the detail that surfaced 20 minutes later, the part that shows just how serious this is. According to a senior Republican strategist who has seen the internal documents, Senate leadership has already prepared a 3-stage contingency plan for Trump's retaliation. Stage 1: if Trump attacks publicly, 5 additional senators immediately issue coordinated statements of support. Leadership holds a press conference the same day. The message is unmistakable. The presidency is respected, but the Constitution comes first. Internal assessments put an 80% chance on this scenario unfolding. This is stage 2. If Trump launches primary challenges, the Leadership Political Action Committee commits $50 million to protect sitting incumbents. The National Republican Senatorial Committee cuts off all funding to challengers. Corporate donors are activated. The unified message becomes clear. The Senate conference stands together. Probability 60%. Then comes stage 3, the option they hope never to use and the one that should alarm everyone. If Trump continues to escalate, the Senate moves toward a formal resolution to limit executive emergency powers. This would require a bipartisan coalition with Democrats and could include a potential censure vote. The message would be simple and absolute. Constitutional limits are non-negotiable. Probability 30%. One senator involved in drafting the plan told a colleague, quoted verbatim, "We have war-gamed every scenario. If he wants a fight, we are prepared to fight. But he needs to understand something fundamental. This time, we are not backing down." If you're starting to see how all of this connects, hit that like button, because what happened next on the Democratic side completely changes the picture. While Republicans were tearing themselves apart Wednesday afternoon, Senate Democrats held a closed-door meeting of their own. According to sources in the room, Chuck Schumer made a decision that will define the next phase of this crisis. Democrats had 2 options. Option 1, exploit the chaos, attack Trump and Republicans together, frame the moment as proof that the GOP is unfit to govern. The political upside would be massive, but so would the risk. A common enemy could reunify Republicans overnight. Option 2, enable the revolt. Stay publicly silent. Offer quiet support for constitutional guardrails. Let Republicans fully own the split. The upside is smaller in the short term, but the strategic advantage is decisive. Trump loses the ability to frame this as partisan warfare. According to 3 sources familiar with Schumer's thinking, he chose option 2. This is political aikido. By refusing to attack, Democrats strip Trump of his most effective weapon. When Republicans revolt and Democrats stay silent, the story becomes Trump versus his own party, and that is a narrative Trump cannot win. Behind the scenes, Democratic leadership issued clear guidance: no public criticism of the Republican letter, no cable news celebrations, no victory laps. Instead, quiet assurances. Democrats would co-sponsor legislation limiting emergency powers if Republicans move forward. The message was simple: we will help you do the right thing without making you pay a political price for it. The Republican response to this silence has been striking. Without an external enemy to rally against, the internal fractures only widened. By 4:30 p.m. Wednesday evening, Trump's Truth Social account erupted. 27 posts in 90 minutes, all caps. Rhinos destroyed the party. Primary them all. Senate leadership equals deep state. The anger was raw, public, and completely uncontrolled. 5:15 p.m., the first primary challenge hits. A MAGA-aligned challenger files in South Carolina, targeting Lindsey Graham. Graham's response, delivered to reporters outside the Senate chamber, are 4 simple words: bring it on. 6:40 p.m., Fox News primetime coverage fractures in real time. Sean Hannity defends Trump without hesitation. Laura Ingraham voices serious concern over the Greenland rhetoric. Tucker Carlson declares Republicans are finally showing spine. For the first time in years, conservative media is no longer speaking with one voice. 8 p.m., corporate donors weigh in. 3 major Republican funders issue a joint statement: we support constitutional governance and institutional stability. Translation: the business community is signaling we back the Senate, not Trump. 9:30 p.m., the count hits 17. 17 Republican senators are now publicly aligned with the McConnell letter. 5 more are privately committed but not yet public. The magic number is 18, enough combined with all Democrats to block any expansion of emergency powers. 18 means Trump loses. But overnight, while Trump rage-posted and Washington reeled, a more significant development emerged. Thursday, 6 a.m., leaked internal Republican polling data hits Politico. The numbers are brutal. A generic Republican candidate in swing states, plus 2 points. Same candidate with Trump's endorsement, minus 4 points. That 6-point swing could mean the difference between holding the Senate and losing it outright. 7:30 p.m., what no one is reporting. 3 Senate offices confirm independently. 42 Republican Senate staffers signed an internal letter declaring we cannot in good conscience continue defending the indefensible. The letter threatened mass resignations if senators backtrack on the McConnell letter. Junior staffers are now forcing their bosses' hands, a historic, unprecedented moment. When the people answering phones and drafting statements refuse to cooperate, the operation collapses. 8:25 p.m., the business community escalates. The U.S. Chamber of Commerce issues a statement: constitutional stability is essential for economic growth and investor confidence. Translation: the business community is signaling we back the Senate, not Trump. 9:30 p.m., international pressure arrives. The United Kingdom's Prime Minister issues a diplomatic statement expressing alarm over rhetoric threatening allied nations' territorial integrity. Germany follows. France follows. NATO's Secretary General releases a statement reminding that Article 5 commitments are sacrosanct. Suddenly, Senate Republicans are staring at a genuine international crisis of their own making. Do you see what's happening? Trump is under pressure on every front: his own senators, staff,
donors, media, and international allies. This isn't one battle, it's encirclement. And when surrounded, you have two options: retreat or escalate. 10 a.m., Thursday, Trump chooses escalation. He announces an emergency rally. Location, South Carolina, Lindsey Graham's home state. Date, this Saturday. The message is crystal clear. Real Republicans versus rhinos. Trump is openly declaring war on his own party in the most public way imaginable. 11:30 a.m., White House meeting. Trump gathers his most loyal House allies, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Matt Gaetz, Lauren Boebert, and the House Freedom Caucus chair.